Well, good afternoon, everybody. Did you ever honestly think we would get to this point where we're going to write tile number 70? And I wanted to sort of do it together today because you just think, oh my word, look what we've done, look what we've achieved. And I'm just imagining now actually going through people's journals, scanning through them and seeing all these different ways that you've displayed them, the different pages you've done, everything about it. It must be, it's a bit mind-blowing. It must be, oh my goodness, look what you've achieved. Look what we've all done over the last 70 hours. Because that's what it is, isn't it? 70 hours of tiles. I'm so proud of everything that we've achieved. I think it's brilliant. And thank you ever so much, people, that sent some pictures in yesterday. Really appreciate that. And they looked fabulous. Charlie was just absolutely in awe of everything that we were doing. He just couldn't believe it. So thank you, everybody. It's just nice that you're here. It's nice to be with you again. So I've been thinking about tile 70, of course, and you think, oh, it's quite a way up. What do we do? What do we do that's going to mark this occasion? So I've decided that what I am going to do is I'm going to actually do one part or 1/4 of a tile. But I'm going to keep it the same tile size that we usually do, but I'm going to do the same thing on 4 tiles. Now, obviously, when we're in this sort of setting, I can only show you today on how to do one of the tiles, but if you then repeated it 3 times to make the 4, of course, I've got a bit of a sample later that I can show you. And I just think it's quite nice that we can show how it can grow. So, all right, so to make a bit of a start then, I'm here with my pencil. I've got my pen, my wonderful pen that our Benji's had a bit of a chew on. Bless him, good job it was that end. I've got my tortillon, although I'm not sure I'm going to use my tortillon, if I'm honest. I'm going to use the watercolour pencils that I had on the show yesterday because I think it'd be nice to sort of see them and have a few hints and tips. But just to get us going, I think we need to mark a few points off. I'm going to have this. I'm going to eventually have 4 tiles and this is going to be the centre of those tiles. So I'm going to mark off about the halfway point there. And then I'm going to split this space in half there. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to half there and half that space there. Okay. All right. So again, with my pencil, remember this is just a guide. I'm going to draw in a slight curve from there to there. See, it's a bit sketchy, but that's okay because it's not going to be there forever. Okay. Same with this one. I'm just going to work my way around a little bit. And if it's not perfectly symmetrical, it's fine. You can use a stencil, but you don't really need to for this. You see, it's not quite touched there, but it was only a guide, so that's fine. Okay? So I'm then going to sort of mark a line between sort of here. Yeah, I don't need all of it, I just need this bit here. There we go. Okay? And then centre point sort of here. Okay. And you notice I've only sort of marked it there. I've not really gone all the way down. I don't have to. And the same there. I'm going to add that sort of guideline there. Okay. So it looks a little bit rough and ready at the minute, but I think that's a really good start. It gives you a nice sort of breakdown and a bit of structure, doesn't it? So here we go. In with our pen. Are we ready for this? Deep breath. Okay. So working on that top point there. So the line is outside those 2 curves we've done. I'm going to add in a curved line there. And a curved line on that side. Okay? So that's how it looks. So looking at this line here, this time I'm going to do the same shape as there, but I'm going to draw it on the inside there. Okay, and the same on that side. All right, so here's the next bit. Okay, we need to focus with this one. What I'm going to do, just having a think about that just to be sure. I'm going to focus on this line here, so I'm curving, following that curve, and I'm going to bring it down to where that point crosses there. Okay, so just along here, and I've come down to where this point crosses here, and then I'm going to follow that guideline and join it to the bottom. Okay, looks a bit weird, but bear with me. Okay, so then I'm going to aura around that line. So to aura, it's a case of following that line, drawing around it to there. Oh, last time was it miserable in Chesterfield? Oh, it's not much better up here, if I'm honest. It's cold. You see, if you feel that you need to stop, then stop, that's fine. And pick it up again and follow it round. Now this time, I'm going to go just to where I've got that guideline. Let's have a look, see? To see where my guideline is, I've just gone to there. So I've got a gap, I've not gone to the bottom. Okay? So then I'll leave it at this sort of size so you can see. So looking at this line here, this one here. So again, I'm going to come and follow it around, going underneath until I get to that point there, and then I'm going to curve it. I'll just turn it slightly and follow that down to the point there. And then this line, follow that round, curl at that end, and then to that point. So we've got this sort of, let's have a look, odd sort of looking little shape, isn't it? Bless it. But that's what we're after. That's what we want. Okay. So let's have a look at this one now. And again, I'm going to sort of work the same as before. So I'm going to start with this curve here. So let's follow it round until I get to there. And then I'm right on the edge of the tile. And I'm just going to bring it down. See, right on that edge. All the way down to there. Okay. Oh, I know, Kathy, but you know, we're doing the same thing each time. And you know what, we've got to mark this occasion, haven't we? Tile 70. And you know what, we've actually, we've done it. We've done this pattern before, only in a slightly different context. So it's not totally new. Just feels it, I think. Okay. So then, again, coming to this inside line here, and along and down. Now this time I'm not going to go all the way to the middle because that's just going to look a little bit odd. So I'm going to sort of stop there, go underneath, and when I reach that line, so you see this is dictating where this line's going. Okay, and around and down, so I'm aiming towards that bottom point again. Okay, oh Sam, don't worry, it's fine, it's not going anywhere. And it's nice to know that people are getting their packages. I remember when lockdown first started, we were all struggling and I was sending things out, they weren't getting there. It was so frustrating. But at least now we know it's sort of working. Okay, so same again, look, I'm going to follow this curve. follow that line around. See that it's a natural progression underneath to when I get to that construction line there. And then down and aim towards that centre point. Okay. So again, up and along. And down we go. Following that line all the way down. So it looks like we're all out and about today then. Some working, some travelling. Yeah, pretty miserable, isn't it? But, you know, at least we're all able to do that, I suppose. Now it's life's getting back, it's kicking in. There we go. Building an ark, Lindsay. Oh, that'd be good. Be quite a lot of tangling that would, wouldn't it? Yes. There we go. So let's have a look at where we're at so far. All right. Okay. That's quite nice, doesn't it? So you can imagine that this is the centre point and you've got this pattern sort of on 3 more squares. It's going to look quite neat. So, okay, what we're going to do with this then? Let's start in the centre. Okay. So, between here and here, I'm going to add in another one of those lovely little teardrop petal-y kind of shapes. And then from there, continue or just fill in that line there. Okay. So now I'm going to turn it round, just because I find it easier to draw sort of lines coming this way really, and it might actually help if you mark this bit here. I want to put 2 lines in there, so I'm going to go 1, 2. You see, I've split up that space, and now I don't know whether you want to do it that way or whether you want to do it this way. Let's try both. I'm going to try it this way, so I'm going to start here and take it all the way down. There we go, to that point there. And then I might do a dry run. There we go. Okay, a dry run. And now the real thing from there to there. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry if you missed it yesterday. I did post out that they changed it. They've been changing my days around quite a bit, and yeah, it's nice to accommodate, and I helped out there, but I've asked them not to. So yeah, having said that, the 13th of October they've changed it to the 10th, but I did agree it, so that's fine. So the pick of the day is on the 10th, and then I've got a date of the 23rd of October as well. So they promised me that they won't touch that one. So they're gonna send me some more dates through, so I can sort of say, and I can tell you when they're gonna be. I'm trying to imagine, Chris, it being squidged up. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Oh no, this is serious, this tangling business. All right, you can see here I've done the same thing on the other side. And there we go, one there, and one there. And then I'm just going to fill in the gaps around that section. And it makes me wonder if Benji has been at this end. I seem to be running out of ink. Maybe he's been having a go secretly. Oh, Sam. I know, you can go onto the internet and you can type in 7-day catch-up. That's how I usually do it. And, it isn't very dark deco. But, yeah, if I need to get on and do something about it, yeah, I do go on the internet and do it. Okay. So here we go. We've got this section here. So I'm going to start in the centre with one of those lovely famous little bubbles. It wouldn't be a tile at number 70 if we didn't put bubbles in. And then another, see, and I'm filling the space as much as I possibly can. Some are getting bigger, some are going to get smaller, but that's absolutely fine. There you go. Tiny, tiny one at the bottom. Okay. So again, let's just go ahead and fill those gaps. And see there, I've gone over it. I don't mind, it's fine. It obviously wanted to break free, didn't it? It feels a little bit squished next to all those other bubbles. So we've got to make sure that we get them all touching. No social distancing on this tile today. It's all going to be all together. Lots going on. There we go. Okay, love that. Yes, Tracy, yes, I am. And yesterday we brought it out. We thought, oh, we'll see how people like this, and you liked it. Do you know, I love it. It's so cute. And we did take quite a lot. Oh, I'm sorry if you missed it, if it's sold out, because we made as many as we could. But we are making more. But we are in the process of doing that. And of course, the frames too, they really go, and it's quite a lot actually. The next show's going to be, I've got something that I've never brought to you before, and a couple of new bits and pieces. So I'm really excited about the next one. Really looking forward to it. I mean, I thought the pocket tangles are great, but this next one's different. I have to keep you guessing. I'm not telling you. I'm absolutely sworn to secrecy, and that's, I can't tell you because I've told nobody else to tell you either. Okay, so let's just add into this section here. And I'm just, if you can, I mean, if you can't, don't worry about it. I'm just going to add another little line. I'm going to put a little dot on the top there. See, I think sometimes it just sort of gives it a bit of clarity, doesn't it? Adding those little lines in. And of course, the more lines you have down this bottom edge, the heavier it looks, and the darker it's going to sort of look there. Oh, I know, I'm so excited. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this section here, let's add in a couple of lines and fill that space in. Right, okay. I know, Carol. Wait to see it all together. Wow, it's lovely. No. Oh, that's funny. Well, Marie knows, but she's again sworn to secrecy. But you know what? Do you really want me to tell you everything up front? Do you not want a surprise? And of course, Leslie knows because she's been in the office, although she's having a break this weekend. So I hope she's relaxing in a new caravan. But we miss you, Leslie. Come back. Don't stay. Ah, dear. Yeah, well, we are. But John's in today with me. He's running the machines, and he's packed some parcels for me. And we had a meeting this morning, so we've worked out what it is we need to machine and what we need to make. And he's got the Hermes orders. We've managed to pack a few today. Not a huge amount. I think possibly 50. Not a huge amount, I'm sorry, but I'm going to get them out as soon as I can. So we'll be working over the weekend to get as many out as we can for you. There we are. I love this pattern. It just really works, doesn't it? It really, and it's so simple. It's just a few lines, a little bit of colouring, and it looks amazing. And once you shade it, it looks so three-dimensional. Oh my goodness me, Catherine, working on Christmas stuff? Oh my goodness. Speaking of work, I think my dusting's going to have to stay a little bit. Going to be doing that this weekend, aren't I? Perhaps I should give, should should tie a feather duster to Benji's tail. He's still not quite sure what it's for, if I'm honest. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I've done that side. His tail eyes, not the feather duster. Yeah, it's really grown a lot, and you know, if you sort of show it to him, you're like, look at your tail. He's like, no, it's not mine. I don't know what that is. Then chases it. It's so funny. But he does wag it a lot. Because it's a big tail, it tends to sort of like, yeah, create chaos wherever he goes. I think the worst thing sometimes, if you know, he sits down and wags his tail or whatever, while it's wagging, you've got it in your cup of tea. Nice. Seth has more manners. Yeah, rolls his eyes at his little brother. That's funny. Alright, so we're just keeping going with this lovely little pattern. This works really well, you know, not just in a you know, sort of a square shape or a straight shape. Try it and fill a swirl in with it. It looks amazing. It looks really 3D once you've shaded it. It's, oh, you've got a space, you don't know what to do with it. Fill it with this. It looks awesome. It doesn't matter what space you use. It works. It's good for lots of them. There we go. Filling in. So I think I'm going to have to at some point have a new pen. Mind you, maybe I should look through the ones I've got first, because otherwise I end up with lots of pens that are half used, and I shouldn't do that. There you go. Whew. Alright, nice stripy feature going on there. Okay, so let's have a look at these next sections. Let's have a look at this one. There's a few bits and pieces we can do in here, but I'm going to keep it sort of, yeah, sort of not too tricky, I think. I'm going to, you know that construction line, let's just fill that in with a load of dots. Okay. And then there's a choice thing here. We could actually centre it and go to the centre, or we could keep it seriously straight that way. I don't really mind. I think you know, let's do it at a bit of an angle. So look, I'm aiming for this point here. So if I mark that in first, you see I'm doing lines, dashes, little dots. And then split that piece. You see, because I'm working towards that centre, it's sort of going to give it the effect that it's circular. So we are going to sort of run out of space at the bottom before we do at the top. Okay, now the thing with this as well, if you think straight lines can't do, wobble them. Actually create a wobbled line on purpose and do it that way. It's absolutely fine. It'll just give you a different effect slightly, but it'll still give you a nice finish. Okay, I think what I am going to do there, I'm going to see if I can go, oh yes, look, in between each one. Well, I know it's going to get a bit busy down this bottom, but I'm going to get to maybe, if I can't put any lines in, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to fill the top bits. Well, that's what gives it the evenness, isn't it? If we split up the gaps or the spaces we've got, it just helps to balance everything. So it's not that we're measuring, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just giving us a little bit of a guide. And you see how much more I've got in there, and it's just adding to that layer or the overall effect when it's done. Alright. Okay. So I'm going to do the same on this side now. So again, I'm going to start in the centre, just adding that line in, and then marking, just making sure I know where I'm going to. And from the centre there. Hi Joanne. But it's nice though that people are out and about and doing things now. It's must be better for everybody concerned. Everybody's, must be feeling a bit better about it. I know times are still a little bit shaky, but you know what? They're a lot better than when we first started tile number 1. Tile number 1, remember that? I can remember that was quite an abstract one, wasn't it? It was, I think, 4 different patterns, 4 tangles, and a basic sort of framework. And then the second one we did the heart. That was a really beautiful one. See, those, I know we don't always want to go back and look, but they still have their merits and they still have a lot going for them, those early ones. Oh no, Julia. Everywhere's different now, isn't it? It must be really confusing as to what rules are for who and where. So I think we just keep to the, let's stay safe and stay away from people as much as we can. And, wear your mask when you're out in a building, and yeah, I think that's the best you can do, isn't it, really? There we are. Oh no, yeah, do you know, I think I did the heart one for Valentine's Day for John. Oh, it is a really nice one to do, and it's nice when you build that one up as well and do 2 or 3, isn't it? Okay, see where we're at? Now, looking back at this, remember, this is going to be this sort of centre point. So we've got this lovely shape coming around here. And it's worked out pretty well, hasn't it? Look at that. Okay, more bubbles? Are you up for more bubbles? Okay. So, yeah, I know, Wendy. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Pen again. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'm not going to go all the way down that edge, I don't think. I might leave that for later, when I've put the tiles together. Now you might decide that you don't want to do more tiles, you just want to do the one. Or you might decide that you want to do this tile and then do the other 3 straight in your journal. So this one sort of stands out a little bit. There's options, there's ways, isn't there? You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. But, so that's why, if I was doing just the one tile, I would go down there and fill it with bubbles. But if you're going to do the 4, you might want to put your tiles together and then do those. See how it goes, okay? Alright. Let's go in that corner with that one. And then, just following it round. I always try and make sure I get into those corners. Just to, give it definition. And if you think, oh, I'm not going to get it in the corner, then that's easy enough. Put that one in first, and then come back on yourself. And you can see there, look, I've got space for 2. Alright, so even the same here, look, I could actually put one on the top there, because I want one to be definitely there, and then work my way back down. It really doesn't matter. It's, if you don't want to have that one on the top, I just think it looks balanced, doesn't it? There you go. Alright, so again, same thing, I've got that one there, so let's put that one in there, and then work backwards. It just gives it that sort of lovely little finish, doesn't it? A little decorative edge. See, if in doubt, do bubbles. Or put a line in, or who says it's right or wrong? There are no mistakes. I know we all like things perfect, but who's to say it's perfect? It's our vision of it, it's our view. It's how we want to see it, isn't it? I know we compare each other's, but there's really no need. Each one has got its own unique character. And it's got your heart and soul in it, so be proud of that, and just love it for what it is. I think only half an hour ago this was a blank tile, Yeah, we signed it on the back and there was nothing on the front. And that's now down to the fact that you've given it a go. You see there, I'm going to add one more. And then again, because I've got this tiny little gap, might be, you know, once I put another tile next to it, then I might want to add the bubbles going across. I am aware, by the way, that we've done quite a lot of cream tiles recently, and I know that. There's so many colours that we can use. So I think over the next few weeks, I'm going to try and use a few more colours, and I think maybe some more shapes as well, so we can have a bit of a play with those. But today, because I wanted to show you the watercolour pencil, it was better on this colour, and I think sometimes it comes across on the video. You can see it a little bit clearer with a cream tile, but I will. You can use whatever colour you like. Okay, so I've got this bit of a curve, okay, a bit random, but it's going to happen. And then I'm just going to make it a little bit thicker, so doubling up that line just on the inside. Oh, Denise, yeah, no, honestly, every single one has got its own merits. And we love them, and I think it's great that you all share, because we can learn so much from each other. And we've come on so much, we really are, from that first tile. You know, it's important that we look back on those just to remind ourselves, actually. Okay, so this one's going behind, but I'm still going to imagine that sort of little curve with a little blob on the end. And then from the blob, follow the curve round and up, round and up. You see this little gap here? I'm just going to fill it in whilst I'm going. Okay? Let's have a look at where it is. So they're not small, these little leaves, are they? They're quite large in terms. I'm just going to add a little bit of one there, just so it looks like this, they're going behind. Then of course that little bit there I'm going to just fill in. There we go. And you notice I'm going in different ways. They don't all have to go the same way. And if you wanted to, you could colour that section in the middle. If you want to fill it in with the black, it's fine. I usually do that, if I'm honest, but I think today I'm going to be a little bit different, and I'm going to leave it. Alright, and same here. Okay. See, that's going to go under and round. Around. Let's have another one. Something about doing those little blobs on the end. Absolutely love it. Yeah, it just then kick-starts it off, doesn't it? As you're going around. Okay, I think need one to go that way. Yeah. And that one. Down and round. And round. And again, see here, I've got a little bit of a gap there. Let's just fill that in. Let's have a look. See, I've got a bit there too. Let's just get that filled in. And of course, here there's quite a big gap. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put another sort of leaf underneath there, because I don't want a massive space to fill in with this black pen. I just want it to fill in the areas, the smaller areas. Okay. So I'm going to put one more in there. It's a bit there. Okay. Around and up. Nice. Let's have a look at that so far. Okay. So I'm going to do the same sort of thing here now. I'm going to fill this space in. So again, with those little curves, following around and adding those lovely little blobs on the end there. And around. And again, I'm not going too small with these. But I'm not filling the whole tile, because there's something else I want to put in there as well. There we go. And I think another one there. And there. And around. Well, I'm glad I didn't have to get up at 4 o'clock this morning and go to Create and Craft. It's quite a thing to do. It's actually nice once you're up and the drive's nice, but then you get really tired. You know, as soon as you're on the way home. So when I'm about, I don't know, 40 minutes away from home, you start to feel that tiredness kick in. At least yesterday, I left in the daylight and I got back in the daylight, so to speak. It was not bad drive at all. And of course I spent the 2 hours, well not 2 hours, but the 2 shows with Charlie. It was great. I love his enthusiasm actually, it's great. It's nice when they're interested in the product and it's genuine, you know, that he really does. I like that. Okay. I loved it when he said, "It's so cute." Oh, it's funny. There you are. And that one. Okay, and again, see here, I've got quite a lot of a black area. Let's just have a look at that. You see, it's quite an area, isn't there? So if we put another, see that's what the leaf, if we put another one, and it's not about drawing the whole thing, it's just about giving you that sort of idea that there's one under there, and it means you don't have to fill as much in with the black. You're not really going to notice it, but I think it just breaks it up. Otherwise we're going to get a lot of black around there, and it's nice to have a bit, but let's not overdo it. Let's not get carried away. Right. Okay, and let's put another one in there. All right. So, see, I know there's a gap there, but you know we can keep filling if we're not careful, we end up with, you know, too many. I still want a little bit of space at that top edge for some other bits and pieces. So, you know, be a little bit, you know, careful about where you put them. Think about it. Alright, this is a lovely pattern. I love this one. I love them all. I think there's a couple that I'm not so fond of, but there's none of them that are really offensive and you think, oh, I don't like that one at all. I find that there's some that, you know, are a little bit tricky and you think, oh, I'm not quite sure about that. Then I will get a piece of paper out and I'll practice and, you know, and give it another go, and still if I don't quite get the hang of it, I'll leave it and I'll come back to it at another time, because it just might be the frame of mind you're in, you know, you might just not be ready for that one yet. Alright, okay, so we're going to fill that. You see, same sort of thing here. If I could actually go in and put another leaf there, but if I'm going to join another tile to it later, then it might be that I want to add it at that point. So for now, I'm not going to do any more. Look at that. Still lovely. Oh, okay. So a couple other bits and pieces now. Let's expand this a little bit. So if I'm going to go in, I'm going to add in a little curve here and a really close aura. Almost so they're touching, you see? Alright, let's just put a little blob on the end. It's almost like a tiny little triangle. And then let's add a little teardrop. Okay. And then another. You see, this time it sort of looks like it's going underneath it. And then another. The same on this side. Oh, sweet. Yeah? And then from here I'm going to come in and put quite a long sort of leaf shape. Let's put a line down that. And the same here. A little line. Okay. Okay. Stalk always looks like a banana. Do you know, I know it sounds funny, but I know I shouldn't laugh. But there are a few people that have said that. Don't worry about it. You know, just sort of enjoy the flow of that curve. And maybe you want to do, I don't know, if maybe you'd want to do that kind of shape and then aura, or just, you know, thicken it up a bit and then thicken it up a little bit more in the middle, you see, and build it that way. And then add those shapes in and then bring that up. So that might be a little bit easy, just to sort of fill it as you go in and thicken bits up. That might help. So that was because I laughed at you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But, oh, you do make me laugh. It is funny. We have had some laughs, haven't we, whilst doing this? I think perhaps the funniest one was the misspelling of Hermes. That was absolute classic. And it still makes me laugh now. Oh, it was so funny. That was on one of Marie's videos, wasn't it? Yeah. It was hilarious. There we go. Of course, you've got to get the zingers in. Okay. Next one. Nice thin line, just as before. It was, wasn't it? It was, Pat. Oh dear. See, people are going to have to go back and watch that now, aren't they? Was it on the Love You to the Moon it was on? I can't remember now. Okay. Well, let's put those lovely... Let's change the subject, Luke. Put those leaves in. There you go. Alright, and another one. So they can be all different sizes. You don't want them all sort of on the same level. You want some to be slightly different. And then in. There you go. Okay. And again, I've got that lonely sort of zinger there, haven't I? Let's just have it so it looks like it's got a bit of a friend in there. Okay, let's have a look so far. Alright, so you see that it's started to fill that space up, isn't it? Okay. Do you know, I think actually, you know where I've got these little gaps? I'm going to go and fill those in with bubbles. Just because I can. I mean, you could go in and fill it, you know, with the black pen. But sometimes it's nice to have a bit of variation, isn't it? And I don't want to go too black as you sort of start to move out that edge. There we go. See, I might even put a couple in there. Again, just filling in the space around it. Okay. So, there's quite a space there, isn't there? Let's do that one. This is how it evolves as it's going. There's a plan, of course, but it doesn't mean you have to stick to it all the way. It doesn't mean that it's always got to be the same. It's nice to have that change. Let's put one there, look. There we are. Alright, in for one of these flowers again. There we are, 2, 3, 2. No, there's nothing stopping if you wanted to. You could add more. Do you want? Let's do that there too. It doesn't look like it's a lonely one. There you go. Lovely, those little leaves in there. Let's throw a zinger in, little dot, then aura. Alright, you know, I love it with zingers. Is, you know, until you put that first aura, you never know which way it's going to go. It sort of controls you at that point, doesn't it? It tells you which way it wants to go. You sort of, you don't have a say in it. Alright, there we are. Flower again. Along with this one. Okay. Oh, hey Marie. Yeah, are you listening? We were just talking about the Hermes misspelling. We were trying to work out which video it was in. We think it was in the first, was it the first to the moon about? I can't remember. But I think people need to go back and look. It were hilarious. It was. But mate, it really did lighten the load, didn't it, that day? Oh, it was great. Oh. Alright, there we go, bubbles. I'm filling in any gaps. Okay, let's have a look where we're at so far. Okay, so plenty around sort of this side here. Let's just add a little zinger in there. So let's have a look and just put a few in at this side too. Alright, in we go with those little flowers. Little leaves. The side. Get another one in there, I think. Just working one way, then the other. And I might just have a little, it looks like that one's behind there. Zinger in. And let's have a zinger going that way. You see, they're all different sizes, they all go their own way. Alright, let's have a look. Okay, so I think at that point we can work on a little bit of water. Now what I am going to do before I do that, you see where you've got this construction line in there still? It wouldn't matter normally if we use pencils, but because I don't want it to affect the colours with using the watercolour, I am going to just rub out that line, because of course you put water on that and it's going to muddy the colours a little bit, and we don't want that, do we? Okay, there we go. So let's have a look. Now the good thing about this is because there's only 12 in the set, you're not restricted. It's all about, well, let's just use what colours we've got. And then it doesn't sort of take you an hour to decide, not mentioning any names, Shirley. It doesn't take you an hour to decide what colour you're going to go with. And then we always know what colour you're going to go with anyway. So, okay, let's pick up the I've got the sort of the purpley magenta-y colour. So what I'm going to do to start with, here we go, I'm going to add some. So that's it. Now I'm not going to press on really hard. Quite a gentle sort of pressure. Remember, those are the very, very first things that we drew. Now, if you want to do the left-hand side, that's absolutely fine. But because I've chose to do the right-hand side, I'm going to do the same with my little bubbles. All right. There we go. Just right down to the bottom edge. And I'm also going to add some here. I'm not going to focus too much on the tangle line. I'm just going to add a bit of colour at that top edge. See, I've come down here a little bit and up this edge. Oh, did you, Pat? Oh, thank you. Do you know, I really wanted to make sure that if I brought pencils to the channel that they were going to be decent ones. And I do like these. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like my polychromos as well, but you know, in terms of value and still getting that quality pencil, these are pretty good. Alright, so I'm just sort of going over, I'm adding a touch of that blue. You see, not all over, but just in little bits, in little places. See, same here. There you go. So just going over a little bit, just under there. So I'm still, as you can see, I'm still leaving some of that colour. So I'm not colouring over the whole thing. So then here, let's add some in there. I'm just going to take it up about halfway, okay? And I think at this point I'm going to add just a little bit in those flowers. You see, when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. I've not really coloured in. There we go, see? Just adding a touch, you see? It's just like, it's almost the same as we're using the, you know, when we use the pencil, as we just go in and add a little bit and then we use the tortillon to smooth it out. Well, with these, we're going to use the water to do the same job, really. Glenys, yes, if you have a look on my other Facebook page, for some reason it doesn't post on this one, so you're looking just for Sandra Rushton, and you'll find that that's where people have posted their pictures. Okay, this is the darker of the blues, so I'm putting a little bit less on because I don't want it to overpower, you see? Just a little bit less. Because otherwise it will end up just all being dark blue, and that's not what we want. Of course, a little touch. I mean, a little touch I'm putting, it's almost like a little dot on there. Oh, Barbara, no, don't you worry about it. You'll find that whatever you've got is going to keep you really happy and really busy. So don't you worry about it at all. Okay, so I've got 2 greens. Now, as well as having the 2 greens, if I wanted to, I could mix my own. So I've got a blue, as we've used, the darker blue and a yellow. And for those colourists of us out there, we know that these colours together will make different versions of green. So let's put some different ones on, okay, so you can see the difference. So here's the darker of the greens, and I'm just going to add a little bit over to one side. See, nothing much. A very light touch on some of them. All right. Alicia, yeah, they are. They're really vibrant, but you know, you can actually use them and they can be quite subtle as well. Just depends how much you put on and how much water you mix with them, really. And okay, I'm going to use the sort of the limey bright green for those leaves, just to give them a bit of a difference. Okay. See, and again, I'm not colouring in. I'm just adding some of that pigment, so you can we can use the water later. So okay, if I was going to sort of mix my colours now, I'm going to go in and put a little bit of yellow. Okay, very lightly, just in places you can see it. So just on those ones that are left. And then if I use the lighter blue, I'm just going to go over the top a little bit there. See, I know it looks a bit weird now. There we are. So just over where those yellows are. And I could actually go in and add a little bit onto some of those greens as well. And again, a bit the darker blue, just a touch. I was always taught when using watercolours that you shouldn't really use the greens that were always given. If you wanted a realistic looking green, it's always about mixing your own. But this gives us both options, doesn't it? It gives us the chance to merge them a little bit more. Okay. So, I've not done anything with this particular pattern yet, but I'm going to come in and do that in a short while. Maureen, they're pretty close. They're pretty much the same, I would say. So yeah, your 2 greens, your yellow, your magenta's the same. Yeah, they're pretty much the same colours. So you could mix and match them if you wanted to. So you could use watercolours first and then go over the top with the others. Okay, now yesterday I mentioned, didn't I? I don't particularly use a paper towel. I put my water on, and then if you use the back of your hand, you can sort of gauge. You see, if I was to do that, you can see there's way too much water. See, whereas that's a lot better, because that's just going to drown your page, isn't it? So I use it to gauge where it's going to go. So that sort of almost dries it off. And let's start with these sort of shapes here. And what I'm going to do, ever so gently, I'm just going to add some water onto this. See, I've left a little bit of a gap and then up that side. So it's basically, I've copied where I've drawn. So now before I put any more water on, I'm going to clean my brush. So I've got clean water, and then I'm just going to touch the edges. Now, I know some of you, you're into your watercolours and you know how to do this, so I apologise if I'm teaching you something you already know. But you can see they're using the clean water, it's allowed it to blend in, and you've still got that white of the page that we're after. If I didn't do that and I just filled it with water and moved the colour all over, then what you'd find is you'd just end up with no definition and you'd just end up with colour. So let's do that again. There's my water going over the pencils that I've sort of added there, you see? And then clean your brush and then come back in, and on those edges I'm just going to add the clean water and allow that colour to just run into that space. Okay? So let's again, same thing again. Oh, there we go, water over the pencils. You see? Clean water, just touch around the edges, and that's allowing that pigment to run into that clear water. Fill that up and just sort of fill it up a little bit. Okay, all right, same with this one. Yeah, just in with the water, clean water. Oh, Jackie, yes, they do. It's, I don't know, I'm a bit old school. I do like the brushes, but... Okay, so let's have a look at that so far. Can you see that just by going over? I mean, here I've still got quite a heavy line, so I can go back in and just ease that off a little bit. You see as it's still moving? And then again, clear water, just to sort of tease the edge and allow it to move into that space. Okay? All right, so next little bit, let's work on the bubbles, because it's the same sort of principle. So I'm not going to worry about the little ones too much, they're already there, aren't they? So here we go, look, fill the space. Now of course, I'm not going to do them all and then come back, because otherwise they'll be dry. So you've got to work in small amounts. Now, just adding around the edge. You see, look, adding the water to your pigment, going in with clean water and just touching the edge before it dries, just to allow it to flow in. So again, there's one. So there's my water being added to the colours. Clean water, just touch the edge where it's starting to dry and allow that colour that's still a little bit wet to run in. Alright, same again. Clean water. Okay, same again. Clean water. Same again. So see, once you've done it a couple of times and you notice that, you think, oh, actually, I sort of get the hang of it. And there are lots of ways of using watercolours. There are. So it's entirely up to you how you use them. But I can only show you, how I do it and how things sort of work that way. So there we go. You can see that dark blue there. So it needs a little bit more water now. I'm just pulling it up. And the idea is not to fill the whole space. You see it's getting quite dry there now. So back in with some clean water. And let's just touch the edges and allow that colour just to run through and go to hardly anything there. See? That's where you're getting that lovely blend. Oh, Chris. Yeah, I know what you mean. But no, you'll be fine. And thank you, Alicia. Yeah, it's nice to know that, it's useful. As I say, I know some of you already use watercolour, so you don't need me telling you how to use them. But I know there's some of you out there that aren't. So there we go. It's the same sort of principle, you see. So working from that way, and then I'm coming to this. There we go. Pulling that down. You see there, it's quite a lot darker, and you'll notice it a bit more. See, then I'm just going to add clean water. There you go. And just allow it to, it's going to help it there a little bit 'cause it's a bit dark, just to flow through. Okay. Oh, Linda, do it. Give it a go. I mean, say they're all lots of different ways, and pencils still give you that control, and they just make life a little bit easier for you. That you don't need to put loads of water on. You know, if I was doing a watercolour landscape, I perhaps wouldn't do it this way. But for these things, the tiles, it works lovely. Always though, same sort of principle about, you know, making sure you add the clean water. So that's another point, as I'm mentioning water. Don't sit there for an hour. No, I know you're gonna. Don't sit there for an hour and then look at your water and think, "Oh my goodness me, it's filthy." You do need to keep changing it. Okay, it's really important that you do that. Keep changing your water. All right, now you see here these little leaves. I'm not going to overdo them or try and blend or anything. I'm just going over it with a little bit of water, just to sort of smooth them out. It's almost like I'm softening the edges again. And if they fill, they fill. They're so small, it's not worth faffing about them, really. It's just about going in and adding that little bit, okay? Same with your flowers, and I'm just going to work from that bottom edge and just pull it up. And you see, I'm actually leaving the rough edges because it just gives that little bit of life on those flowers. You see, it just hardly needs anything. I'm just delicately sort of pushing the pigment into the flower, not all the way up, you see, but I'm not going in with any other water because they're so small. You don't really want to be worrying about them. Put that one a little bit there, see? Okay. Same with this. It's almost like a delicate pulling and dabbing, really. Yeah, this is where you've got that really fine tip on that brush. It works ever so well. Okay, so there's my flowers done. Let's have a look so far. Okay, so there we go. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you see, look at the light, and you're getting that shadow in there. Wendy, I know what you mean. Yeah, don't do it. All right, let's have a look at these leaves then. So this is one of the leaves, or a couple of the leaves here that I started with, and it's got just the green pencil on. So again, you can see I'm just filling that colour in. There you are. And again, just clean water again. Just sort of like help it work off to nothing. I don't want to fill the whole thing. I just want to add a bit of colour on one side. So you see there, just working it in. Then back into your water, and then blending it to nothing, you see? So now here we've got one that's got the pencil and the yellow and the blues. So let's see what that's going to look like. See, when you mix the two together, you're actually getting a slightly different green in there. There we go. So if we compare the two, see, oh yeah, slightly different colour, but one has got a little bit more to it than the other. So, you know, when you're using these pencils, don't be afraid to add more colour, or, you know, or add a bit of blue into your green and things like that, because it really makes the difference. See, there you go, look, it blends on the page. So I know putting blue on a leaf felt a bit weird, but you can see there. Oh, Maureen, I've done that more than once. Must admit, I was at university and working on a metal lathe. We used to have one cup of water there for our wet and dry paper, so we could polish the metal, and then we used to have one for, obviously, for drinking. And the amount of times, yeah, that I mixed the two up because they were the same kind of cup. Okay. You see as well, actually, looking at these where you've got the different greens, it's made quite a difference, you know, in terms of the actual overall image. See there, I'm just blending that in. Clean water. No, I've not done it. I've not had a cup of tea yet because obviously John's working the machine and he won't be watching the video, so we'll not get the hint. And I don't want to take him away from his work. Right. Alright, now this is why today I did pick a cartridge paper tile, because it will take a little bit more water. If you're using super smooth tiles, you can use them, but I would perhaps sort of work more with the pencils and the pastels on them. You can use watercolours on them, but ease off the water. So each one's got its own purpose. There we go. So let's have a look. You see here where I've got the different greens now, and because I've added different yellows and blues in, it's really made a difference, isn't it, to the actual overall effect. So here's one, look, with just the green on its own. Darker green, you see. Get a bit of clean water just to pull it out so it goes to nothing there. And then same again here. So just using that fine tip of that brush, it's worth having, isn't it? Just so you can work it. I mean, I've got other brushes that I've had for a long time, but they're a little bit tatty now. It's nice to have that point on the brush, so you can get into those sort of really, really tight areas. So working my way around into that. Oh, thank you, Sue. It's a really nice one, isn't it? So it's nice to sort of do something a little bit different. Certainly that teacher's pet. Certainly that we're on, you know, quite a number, quite a high number, tile 70. There we are. So here we go again. And just going into that point there. And again, nice clean water. Alicia, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can use hairspray in your diary. I assume that's because you've used pastels in it. But yeah, you can, absolutely. All right, so far, so good. So, all right, last little bit then. And in a watercolour, normally, we don't use black. Black doesn't exist in watercolour, but, you know, we're actually working in Tangleland. And in Tangleland, we do use black. So on this occasion, I am. Although, you know, if I was doing something, you know, a nature picture or something, I wouldn't. But this is a totally different kettle of fish, isn't it, really? So, okay. Same as if I was using a regular pencil. And by all means, you could go ahead and you could use a regular pencil. I'm just adding that black to the edges, see, of that pattern. Going underneath where that does. And then same on this side. And then round. Okay. And then very gently with the water. Just going to go in and just touch it. See, I'm not trying to spread it at all. It's almost like I'm just activating it, just to give it that vibrance it needs there. There we go. And down that side. Okay. Now, if you can, it's great to leave that white line in the middle. And again, true watercolourist always uses the white of the paper. But by all means, go in with a white chalk pen. Chalk pencil. See there, I've just gone in where it's going underneath, bit on the bottom there, and a bit there, and a bit on the bottom there. Okay, so this time I'm just going to, same sort of thing, look, pushing it up to nothing, Same on here. And a little bit there. See, that's going to be more shadowy. Now if you wanted to use a different colour, by all means, use a different colour for this, but I think the black, just because, you know, it's traditional tile etiquette, let's say, it's nice to include it. Okay. Okay, and don't forget that clean water just to work it out. There we go. Touch pulled in there. So of course, let's just see if that is dry. Just to go in. See, I'm going to use a white pen and just accentuate that line. There we go. And of course, you've got to make sure that your page is dry before you try and go in and do this. That's why I'm being a little bit tentative, because not fully dry, but you get the idea. Let's have a look at that. Oh, okay. I think, do you know what, if I could, I would perhaps ink around the edges just to take away that whiteness, but it's very clean and crisp. It's lovely, isn't it? Really, really pleased with that. And so, as I said, in true style of it being different, so rather than working with just the one tile, it is a bit of a rough copy, because as you can imagine, it takes time. Imagine doing it all 4 tiles together. I know, Elaine. So there's our first tile. So if I was to put that one there, you can see that it's you know, it all fits in. And I've literally on the back, I've used 4 tiles. I've just put a little bit of masking tape to hold them together, and then added in. So you can see where the seams are. I have gone over and I've added in some of those extra leaves that I said I was going to do earlier. And of course I've changed it a little bit because I didn't put the bubbles around this one, but you know, nice to try it with the different colours as well, so it's not about just keeping it one. So yeah, I think that's going to keep you busy all weekend. It's a great one to use with the watercolours, but if you don't have watercolours, it's absolutely fine. You can go ahead, you can use the pastels, you can use the pencils, or you can just keep it traditional and go black and white if you want to. It's entirely up to you. But for number 70, I really do think that we needed to up our game a little bit and try something a little bit different. So yeah, so from that, which is beautiful in its own right, and you know, would make a lovely card topper or part of a journal, but then to go to that, I thought you'd love that. So have a bit of fun with it. Imagine, a bit of a gem in the middle and all sorts. Yeah, have a bit of fun with it. I think, do you know what, actually, this might be one that you could frame and put up on the wall to say, do you know what, I did that. I did 70 and look at it. So, okay, need to go now, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to book Hermes for Monday for you guys, and we're not going to get to the post office. So take care. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy this one, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye.